I've always thought that we have a pretty strong family. I never left my wife's side, treated her with the utmost respect, and did everything I could to keep her. Victoria, well, she's very careful about money and knows a lot about cooking. A couple of years after the birth of their child, she decided to return to work. It was solely her choice. Olivia, our daughter, is a little treasure who has never caused problems. When she started school, she continued to shine, bringing home excellent grades. Everything seemed perfect, just to live and enjoy life. But of course, things are never that easy. Toward the end of the 5th school year, our homeroom teacher, Asher, approached us, asking for some help. He's the history teacher, and there were a few things that needed doing: painting, wallpapering, and minor repairs. The timing happened to fall just after the vacation period. My wife's vacation didn't start until 10 days later, and we had plans to head to the coast. Victoria, ever the helpful one, volunteered to pitch in, and soon enough, a few other parents decided to join her. By the end, 7 of us were on board, and after the work was done, other parents would step in to do the general cleaning of the classroom. My wife said in a pleased tone, "That's great. I'll try to help too, but I'll be working at that time. I will contribute by preparing the materials. Since I work in a warehouse, I can get them at a discount, plus there's a wider selection." In the end, we managed to purchase all the necessary materials. I suggested waiting a bit before buying the paint. A higher quality brand was about to appear in the warehouse, and the price for it was lower than for other options. My wife was happy to help, and she filled me in on all the details every night. "Dear, the classroom is changing right before our eyes. When Olivia returns from vacation, she won't even recognize her," Victoria said excitedly. Of course, I shared her joy, so when the long-awaited paint arrived at the warehouse, I decided to drop everything and take it to school during lunch break. I loaded up the car, arrived, and rushed to the 3rd floor. The guard let me in without any trouble, as he knew me by sight and was aware of the repairs happening. I was hoping my surprise arrival would make my wife happy. But as you might guess, the surprise didn't quite go as planned. The classroom door was shut, but there was a small gap. I grabbed the handle, ready to open it, when suddenly I heard familiar sounds, mixed with soft groans. I froze. Peering through the crack in the door, I saw my wife in the arms of our homeroom teacher. I don't think I need to describe what was happening in there. For a moment, all I wanted was to burst in and punch someone. But thankfully, my better judgment kicked in. I left the paint outside the door and quietly walked away. I didn't come home until late that night, and honestly, I could barely stand the sight of Victoria. The baby was already asleep, and we went into the kitchen. Once the door was closed, she turned to face me. "So, I guess you know everything?" she asked. "Yes, I know. I saw it all," I replied. I didn't want to cause a scene. I just left the paint and left. "Darling, please believe me, everything happened so fast. We finished early, and the other parents went home for lunch. I was left alone with the teacher. And here's the thing. We're actually former classmates. I didn't know that, and I can't understand why Victoria never mentioned it to me. Anyway, they decided to have tea and reminisce about the old days. He confessed that he had feelings for her then. And in general, everything went on as usual. Please forgive me. I do not know what came over me. It will never happen again." Victoria began to sob, her voice trembling. Imagine the shock I was in, the turmoil raging inside me. I couldn't forgive her for that. She packed her things, and after a couple of days with the baby, went to stay with her mom. Of course, Alice wasn't told anything about what happened. I didn't bother trying to confront the teacher or create a scene. I knew that Victoria and he had tried to make something happen between them, but it never went anywhere. It just goes to show, things can change at any time, even in the most unexpected places, like a school classroom renovation. That's why there's an old saying that rings true: trust, but verify. And sometimes, stirring up a scandal isn't the best move. You can get so angry in the moment that, later on, it becomes impossible to fix things. Whether or not to forgive betrayal is a deeply personal decision. For me, I couldn't do it.